What's up, everybody? First episode titled Minority Superhero Dilemma. Man, I'm excited. Just to backtrack a little bit, I was never always into superhero comics. It wasn't until about 3 years ago where I decided I wanted to really gain more knowledge about the genre. Growing up, I had a general knowledge, general interest, and general respect for the genre, but I never was really completely dived into it. I didn't know too much about backstories, different characters, publishing, stuff like that. And it wasn't until 3 years ago where I really decided, you know what, this is a genre I really want to look into, that I decided to do my own research and just really see what it's all about. And I can honestly say now I'm a very big comic book fan. And a big problem that I see with superhero comics is dealing with minorities, or how they handle minorities. Like, many minority superheroes are defined by their race or ethnicity. For example, heroes like Black Panther or Luke Cage, even Static to a certain degree, them being black is a huge factor to who they are as a character. And if you take that away, you take a huge part of what makes that character. And that's not necessarily bad, but the skin was always a point. And after some time in my mind, I was like, why couldn't there be a black superhero or villain that was just cool and had great stories without the racial politics that in some ways alienated them? And that's the reason why I love Spawn so much. For those who don't know who Spawn is, Spawn was created by artist and creator Todd McFarlane, who did some illustrations for Spider-Man, Hulk, and Batman at one point. And eventually he started his own publishing company called Image Comics, and Spawn was the first character he made. And just to give a quick rundown about Spawn's origin, Spawn was basically African-American who was in the military, but after learning about, some of the corruption in the military, some of the upper heads figured that he knew too much, so they eventually killed him. And he ended up going to hell because he killed a lot of innocents in his times as a military, was it a sniper or something, but he killed a lot of innocents in his work. So he made a deal with a demon called Malboja to return back to Earth, because he still had his wife that he wanted to return to. But after returning back, he learned that he got turned to a hellspawn and that he lost his memory. And that's kind of where the story kicks off. But like, Spawn is such a great character, and if you have the time, you should definitely gain more knowledge or read his comics, because he's awesome. But I remember one interview that Todd McFarlane had, and he said something around the lines of like, I wanted to make a character that his skin wasn't a point, and he could do and have the same wants and needs as any other white superhero where his race wasn't an issue. And I totally agree with him on that, and I believe that's why Spawn became such a successful character. His first issue, if I recall correctly, sold around 1.7 million copies, and he is the best-selling comics in Image Comics. And he even had a movie in the 90s, and he was played by Michael J. White. And that's what I really feel that we need. Like, I want more minority heroes, and I think it's great when we get them, but I strongly believe that they should be defined by having great stories and being great character concepts and great designs. Not because he's black or Latin or Asian, but because the character is interesting and brings something new to the table. Because one problem that I've seen that Marvel and DC try to do in order to have more diversity in their comics is to take an already established hero or villain and change their skin color or gender. Like, we need more diversity. Make Spider-Man black. Have a black Aqualad. Female Thor. Let's make Hulk Korean. And even changing like some sexual orientation of some characters. Like, I know Wonder Woman, Catwoman, Storm, and Harley Quinn, they changed to them to be bisexual. And I feel like that solution is really cheap. Like, regardless of how you feel about gay marriage or homosexuality, if you're going to make a character gay, or any minority for that matter, make original, interesting characters instead of just slapping on a new skin color or gender. Because everyone will know Iron Man as Tony Stark and not Riri Williams, because I feel when you do that, the change you made to an established hero identity to make them black, Asian, etc., the new hero will 99% of the time be in the shadow of the original hero. Like, even though I heard Miles Morales, the Black Spider-Man, has great stories, everyone, when they think of Spider-Man, will first think of Peter Parker. So I would love to see an original minority heroes who aren't a different version of an already established character, but who are their own identity. And another thing is that I wish is that when they make a minority superhero, that they make the character in a way that can be accessible to people of all races and all colors. Not like a character who's only or mainly for black people to enjoy, etc. Like, regardless of race or sex, anyone can equally look up to the hero or draw inspiration from. Like how everyone, including myself, loves or relates to Peter Parker regardless of the fact that he's white. So, in all, I believe a character should be judged by how great or his or her stories and concepts are, and not making the fact that they're a minority a point. Like, if you were to change their ethnicity, it wouldn't change much or at all about the character. I feel in this way, the hero doesn't alienate him or herself, and they become more accessible to everyone to enjoy without the politics thrown in. That, hey, I'm a minority, but I can do the same thing and have great stories like any other Anglo-Saxon hero without my race or sex meaning much or anything at all. So there you have it. That's my thoughts. Do you agree with me or disagree with me? Let me know. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. First episode done. Looking forward to the growth of this podcast. And just thank you guys again for tuning in. And catch you guys next episode. Peace.